Donald Trump supporters weren't the only ones. You could cram this whole goddamn year into a basket of deplorables. Here are just 5 deplorable things about 2016. Number 1, everybody cool died. We should have known we were in for a rough year when David Bowie, Alan Rickman, and Abe Vigoda all died before we even made it out of January. Then, and you'll pardon me if I read because it's quite a long list, came February and Harper Lee, March, Patty Duke, April, Prince, May, William Shallert, who actually played Patty Duke's father / uncle on the Patty Duke Show, and that was nothing weird. Remember, Patty Duke played identical cousins, so William Shallert played one of their fathers and the other's uncle, you know. And then June, Muhammad Ali, July, Elie Wiesel, August, Gene Wilder, September, Edward Albee, October, Michael Massey, remember him from The Crow and a bunch of other stuff from TV, November, Leonard Cohen, and of course that is not even close to a comprehensive list, and I'm shooting this video in late November, so I don't know who else is going to die in December, though judging from the trajectory of the year, I would guess Julie Andrews, Paul McCartney, Aretha Franklin. I could get cute and say America, but that would be redundant. As we all know, America died about a week after Halloween. Number 2, climate change may have reached a tipping point. There was some good news on the climate change front this year, as several of the world's major carbon emitters announced that they had succeeded in either reducing or at least reducing the rate of increase of their carbon emissions. So there was that. But the big climate change related story from this past year was the fact that the world surpassed a level of 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the highest level ever measured in human history, a level so high that it may now be impossible to avoid the adverse effects of climate change no matter what we do. I would say fuck you 2016, but it's not the year's fault. It's our fault. We did it. Fuck us. Number 3, Indigenous people were brutalized. The most prominent example of the mistreatment of Indigenous people in 2016 was probably that of the Sioux of Standing Rock, North Dakota, who, beginning back in the summer, stood against police and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in an attempt to stop construction of an oil pipeline, which the Sioux said would be a threat to their water supply and the integrity of their sacred lands. Over 50 years ago, Johnny Cash recorded the song As Long as the Grass Shall Grow, which was inspired by the similar plight of the Seneca people of New York, which described how George Washington had promised to respect the rights of Native Americans, but that soon enough the United States government had overruled him because, after all, what's an Indian anyhow? So it was then, so it seems, shall it always be. Of all the atrocities that stain the history of my country, the degradation of Native Americans seems to be one that we never tire of revisiting. Number 4, white supremacy was energized. It sure was. White supremacy walked tall and proud with its head held high in 2016. And why? Was there some major cultural event that caused that to happen, that emboldened white supremacists and validated their warped, hateful worldview, like, say, the year-long mainstreaming of a blatantly racist presidential candidate by the mainstream media, which culminated in that racist candidate, who, by the way, was also an unrepentant misogynist who was accused of rape by over a dozen women, not that anybody cared, being elected president of the United States? Because that would have done it, if that... Oh shit! That did happen, didn't it? That did happen. Number 5, ignorance, fear, and intolerance were ascendant. Brexit, Trump, hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees fleeing for their lives only to be met with suspicion and blame from many of the people in the countries where they're seeking sanctuary. I didn't even mention that yet. 2016 was just a shitty year. But it wasn't the first shitty year that we've ever had. I mean, in 1968, Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy were murdered. There was the Tet Offensive in Vietnam. Fucking Richard Nixon was elected president of the United States. That was a pretty bad year. Of course, 1968 ended with Apollo 8, so at least they could finish the year on somewhat of a high note. What the fuck have we got? But see, I'm shooting this before it opens, so I don't know. I hope it's good. I feel the same way about 2017. Here's hoping. The hardest part's picking only 5. Catch you next time. Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks for watching.